Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Contested Realm. My name's Jesse Meulman-Marshall, and it's great to be here today with Too Fluent on the line. Too Fluent, how are you?
I'm doing very good. How are you doing, Jesse?
I'm pretty good. So we've got you on here today to talk a little bit about something that's pretty exciting coming up in Florida that you've been putting a lot of work into, and that is the Courtesan Cup Qualifier. Do you want to tell us a bit about what this event is, where it is, how people can get involved, and then why you've chosen to put it on?
Sure. So what the Florida event is one of the legs, one of the qualifiers for the main tournament that's going to be in June. That's the Courtesan Cup. So this is the Florida qualifier. There's been a few others in different states. And one of the reasons to put this together is to kind of put together a test run, if you will, in my local community, in my local LGS, on what a medium to larger size tournament for Sorcery could be. We're trying to test the waters to see, what kind of, how many people in our local area are wanting to play it.
Mm-hmm.
What the best, approach to putting it together, as in what kind of prizes attract people, what format works best, and how long could it take. So there's a little bit of a trial run, but it does have
Yep.
good rewards because, we have a alpha pre-constructed deck for the top winner. We
Oh,
have plenty of booster packs and booster boxes sealed for the number 2 through number 8 spots, as well as the number 1 through number 8 winners. The top 8 will go to the June up, free of charge.
that's pretty cool. That sounds like a very, very awesome prize pool for people to get their hands on, especially those alpha precons for first as well, plus some beta boosters. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
And so, how can people get involved if someone's watching this video and they think that sounds like a really cool prize pool and I'm not too far from Florida? How do I enroll and get involved in the event?
Yeah, absolutely. So the hosting LGS is Mystic Forge. They're out of Punta Gorda, Florida. And what I'll do is I'll share a link with you guys so you can put in your description
Mm-hmm.
box of how to purchase tickets. There's currently over 30 people enrolled to play. There's still about 20 spots left open if you do want to play. The max capacity in the tournament is 52 players.
Okay, awesome. That's a really good size. We just had about 50 players for the Australia New Zealand Championship last
Wow.
weekend, and it was really well fought. Like lots of different decks, heaps of diversity, and yeah, some excellent play. Particularly once we got into those finals and the top 8. So for your tournament, Too Fluent, you've already got 30 people signed up. That's fantastic. If you get up to that, towards that sort of 50 number, what's the plan in terms of how many rounds it'll be, and will there be a top 8 cut, presumably, to
Okay.
determine who's the grand winner?
Yeah, so we're going to play 4 rounds. And after 4 rounds, you're going to get the top 8 in terms of
Mm-hmm.
win points. And then they'll go ahead and play each other for the top 1 through 8 prize. Um, the rounds will be single elimination, so one match, and then that determines the outcome.
Awesome. That'll be really fun. And so 4 rounds before the cut to top 8, and will those rounds be constructed rounds?
They will be constructed rounds.
And then the top 8 will also be single elimination constructed.
That's correct.
Awesome. And so people can go onto the link that we'll have in the video description if they want to buy tickets and come along. And they will have the opportunity to pick up one of those last 20 or so tickets. So not many left.
No,
You
not
must be
very
pretty
well.
happy to see so many tickets already selling out. 30 already sold.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's a good amount. With other tournaments, I've played in Magic locally. I've played and other games locally, Flesh and Blood, and 18 or so, 20 folks showing up to a tournament. It's still a good time, still fun. Heck, you have 8 guys and you play a draft. It's still a good time. So having 30 people show up so far, I think it's a pretty good outcome.
That's really, really cool. And so, Too Fluent, how did you get involved in actually being the one that is going to set up this event? Have you got some event management experience or community management experience in TCGs, or is this kind of your first foray into that side of things?
Kind of yes and no. Just overall event management experience. I have played another game in another indie game, Vanguard. I'm going to shout them out
Mm-hmm.
because they're a great team. And I've helped them out when they go to cons and learn to plays. And I've been involved with the indie TCG scene for about 3 years now. And then before that, I was a
Hmm.
long time Magic player. I played Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Flesh and Blood, a bunch of them. But this is my first time
Awesome.
hosting a tournament. I'm pretty competitive. I've done a bunch of competitions growing up. I've done martial arts and
Hmm.
did that competitively. Hosted martial arts tournaments. I've been in boxing. So I'm pretty competitive in life, so to speak. And I have put
Yep.
together other types of events. This is my first TCG tournament.
Oh, well, congratulations for taking the plunge and doing something that is obviously using a lot of these existing skills that you've got and doing it really for the first time on this scale in the TCG side of things with Sorcery, where we're super excited to see that you're doing that. And I must say as well, Too Fluent, for those of you who have been around the game and the Discord for quite a while, you'd recognize Too Fluent's name. When I first backed the Kickstarter, way back in the Kickstarter days, I remember Too Fluent being a very active member of the Discord then, super excited about the game and the art and getting involved in the Kickstarter. So from my perspective as someone who kind of observed that back then, it's super cool to have the chance to chat to you and also to hear how much sorcery has continued to sort of capture your attention and passion all these years on, and now to see it kind of culminating in this big event is really cool.
I appreciate that. I mean, it's fantastic to be talking to you as well. You're a very important person in the community as someone who has also helped foster the community and progress it. And yeah, I mean, I'm passionate about sorcery. I've loved this since day one. Fell in love with the art, fell in love with the game concept as well, and just kind of doing my part wherever I can to kind of help support the cause, so to speak.
That's very cool. And I think, Too Fluent, you were mentioning to me just before we hit record that something that you've been thinking about a lot and talking to a lot of people about in the community is how they, as a local game store who is interested in putting on an event, might be able to go about that. Do you want to just chat to us a bit about some of that work that you've been doing and perhaps some thoughts that you might want to share based on your experience with this event for anyone else out there around America or around the world who's thinking about putting on a similar event at their local game store and trying to grow a community?
Yeah, so one of the reasons too I kind of put together the event was to grow the community locally at my local LGS, Mystic Forge, the LGS that I go to. And I did it because I didn't really see much going on within an hour or so where I live. So I felt like this is not only a way to kind of help foster the community as a whole, but kind of locally. And it's been pretty easy. Eric Curiosa as a whole team has been very supportive. So what I would say, if you're wanting to put together an event, I would say first talk to your LGS if you're not LGS owner, to begin with, and reach out to anybody. I mean, probably one of the easiest ways to reach out to Eric Curiosa team is probably through Discord. You can reach out to Simon. You can reach out to Chase, perhaps yourself, and just say, hey, I'm trying to put together an event. And if you are not an LGS owner, and you're just a player, you could probably just get a lot of insight from the LGS owners who put together events for other TCGs. It's a game that I know is going through some challenges from a little bit of availability of product, so to speak. But there's definitely product out there. There's definitely a player base out there, and there's a very supportive Eric Curioso team behind.
Absolutely, and we are just so excited to see these Courtesan Cup qualifiers and the range of different events that are going on around the world at the moment. As a store owner myself and someone who's involved in building my local community here, I've seen firsthand the impact that having an event like our Australian New Zealand Championship recently had on helping to grow our community and foster people's excitement. Is that something that you've seen in the lead up to your event as well, Too Fluent? That I guess for those store owners or community members out there who are looking to build an event who aren't quite, to build a community who aren't quite sure what the role of these sorts of events is. Do you want to talk us a bit through how putting on this Courtesan Cup qualifier for your community, like what impact it's had on people's excitement for the game and why you think it's important for helping to grow that community?
Right. So I think the excitement level definitely is high. If anything, it also helped make believers out of the LGS owners. They see as the game obviously is a newer game. It's a game that there's not really a right or wrong way to put together a sorcery event. There's no really set rules because sorcery was made to be a very casual game. So you could play it in draft format. You could play it in constructed. You could play it, however you like, 2 player, 4 player, and each in any way would work fine for an event. So I think that the importance of us putting it together is really to gain that excitement level to bring people in to play locally. But we actually have people from different states coming in, which is very exciting as well. But yeah, so the event was really cool. It's bringing in a lot of excitement. It's making believers out of the LGS owners, and it's helped kind of foster a local community as well.
That's very cool. And based on your experience so far, is this something that you think you might dip your toe in the water again with event organizing? Have you enjoyed it up to this point?
No, I've definitely enjoyed it. There's been a lot of flexibility to be as creative as we want, to push the event as hard as we want. And I feel like it was a good learning experience so far. And, hopefully next week we'll have a blast playing as well. But yeah, so I'm definitely up for doing another event. Hopefully keep growing every year and maybe making it larger and larger.
Awesome. And I was also chatting to you just before about you're not planning to play in the event, similar to what I did last weekend, just planning to judge instead, which is obviously a really important role. So for people out there who are looking at putting on this kind of event and thinking about what resources they'll need to make it function, particularly the size of players once you get up to 30 to 50 players, why is it that you've decided to judge, and why is that role kind of an important one to make sure that you have in this kind of event?
Yeah, I think the judge role, especially early on in the game's history, is important. It's important because the game's still relatively new. There's players who are going to come up with all different levels of experience. Some probably newer to the game, but some who have played for a while. And the game inherently has a little bit of its complexity in its play style. And there's no like official judges per se, like say Magic has. So it's a labor of love. It's just something you definitely want to volunteer for. Understand it's important. Even though there's no official judging, there's plenty of people in the community that can kind of help prep you to be a judge. Um, I found being on Discord and being active on Discord to be very important. You can definitely ask questions on the official Discords of certain interactions. You can use the Curio.io tool as well. You can browse all the cards and look at the FAQs. So there's definitely a lot of learning materials that are above and beyond just the basic rule book on how to play.
Yeah, that's a really important one, I think, too, Fluent, which is that if you are judging an event, the official rulebook is really helpful and important, and usually the answers are going to be in there for a lot of things. But the Curiosa.io cards, so if you have an issue, for instance, with Royal Bodyguard, like how does its ability work? If you search Royal Bodyguard on Curiosa.io, you'll find the FAQs there. Similar for things like Giant Shark, which obviously has a lot of different FAQ entries, or Enchantress. You will find those official rulings there on the card on Curiosa.io. So if you search each card, you'll see the rulings that relate to it, and that's a really great resource for judges. And you mentioned Discord. I know that Ira's League that is run through the Discord, there are a bunch of people who volunteer as judges for the league as well, and those people are always active on the Discord, and they put in heaps and heaps of volunteer hours, as you're saying, to answer people's questions as they arise during the league. And I think we've had like significant numbers of players. You might know better than me, too, Fluent, exactly how many players have played their 8 matches in this season of the league, but it's been pretty massive, hasn't it?
Yeah, this season has been fantastic in the turnout. Season 4, I know well over 100 people have signed up to play. And the last time I was checking, it was really close to 100 players that played at least 6 or 7 matches, closer to 8. I think it's been like the most active and probably record-breaking tournament league so far. So that's fantastic for Ira to put that together and for the community to continue to grow.
That's very cool. And yeah, if you are thinking about judging an event, or even if you're thinking about going to an event, the League Discord, and in particular the rules channel, is a really great resource for finding the answers to some of those curly rules questions as well. The judges in there are always super helpful. And if you can't find the answer easily, if you just pop it in there as a question, chances are one of the judges, given all the international time zones in which everyone is in, you almost have 24-hour service in that judge channel. So if you chuck your question in there, you get an answer pretty quickly.
Yeah, you can almost have like a virtual judge. I just use them the Discord because it's been my experience that when you type a question in, no more than 60 seconds later you have an answer, which is great.
That's pretty incredible service. So, Tuflet, is there anything else that you wanted to mention about your event in particular, or about the process of using events to grow communities before we wrap up?
Sure, just a few more particulars about my event. So it's going to be on April 20th. It's going to start at 10 a.m. in the morning, and we expect it to be done about 6 o'clock. There will be a 1 hour lunch. It will be a constructed format. And so that's about it for my event. Again, more information and tickets will be in the description. And again, this is a qualifier for the main event. That main event is the Courtesan Cup. Courtesan Cup is going to be fantastic. There's 5 artists that are going to be there. Lots of community members are going to be there. Probably very highly competitive tournament, just because you've kind of had to qualify to get to the tournament. So there's definitely a lot of good talent going. So there's going to be lots of workshops as well. So even if you're not participating in the qualifier cup, but you still want to show up, you can definitely get just a general admission ticket, talk to the artist, maybe get some artist proof or some commissions or some prints, play some casual events. The whole tournament, the whole Courtesan Cup in general, I believe, going to be a big tournament and a big gathering, good time for that weekend.
Yeah, so I think the plan is that there's going to be the Spring Sorcery Social that it will be part of, and you'll be able to play different side events and things there is the plan. So you can check out I think it's the Sorcery Spring Social website if you want to find out more about that.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tufelo, for coming on. It's been really great to have a chance to chat with you and hear about the Florida Courtesan Cup Qualifier. Can't wait to see the deck lists and the photos and all sorts of things that come out of the event, and I hope it really goes well for you and the community.
Thanks, Jesse. I appreciate you sacrificing your Sunday morning to chat about the event and help us bring some awareness.
You're very welcome. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you again soon in the contested realm.
All right, Jesse. Thank you.